Welcome to the OWL Podcast, and today we're featuring the rising star in the super middleweight division, Abel Gonzalez. With an impressive record of 6 wins, including 4 knockouts, Abel is making waves in the boxing world. Join me as we dive into his journey, victories, and the passion that drives him to greatness. Abel, glad to have you, man.
Thank you for having me, Doc. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to take up some of your time because I know you train a lot, and you're always working on greatness. And I just wanted to kind of speak with you. We've spoken before. Your story is interesting, and I think the world would like to hear what you have to say and how you come to be and to be on where you are right now, the journey that you're trying to achieve, and all the greatness that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long journey, and I appreciate you having me here as well.
Sure.
It's an honor, man, and thank you for all the work you've done for me in the past. It's actually benefited me greatly, and later I'm sure we'll get into that. But honestly, yeah, just happy to be here.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm always trying to help individuals in any way that I possibly can. And the interesting thing, especially as a physical therapist, I believe that people don't realize how a wide range of functionality that what we do, how we are useful. So you're a boxer, you're a professional boxer. I've worked with people in construction and things of that nature. So, we'll get into all that, but a little bit more about you at this moment in time. So, can you share with us how you first got into boxing and what inspired you to pursue a career in the sport?
So when I was kind of like, I don't want to say the word manipulated into the sport or manipulated to love the sport, but ever since I was younger, my dad, would tell me, would buy me like, heavyweight shirts that would say heavyweight future champion of the world. I was a big kid at like 13. I'm lying, at 11 I was weighing about 145 pounds.
Really? So
to find fights at that time was very difficult for us. So my dad always thought I'd grow up to be a heavyweight, let alone when I got 14, I started slimming down, but it was just when I was younger, my dad would put his hands up just like this, and then, I'm talking maybe 5, 6, and then I'd punch it, and then he'd go like, oh, like make it seem like it hurt so bad, it would just make me laugh, and it make me feel like dang, like he's impressed by me, he's proud of me, so then that, after that, it was just, I always felt love for just fighting. And that wasn't just when I got into boxing, because, my father moved to, I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
My father, he moved down here to bring the family from Cuba. So my father didn't start the journey of boxing with me, but he was always there, in the mix of it and always on call with me and with my coach. It was his best friend. They took me to a famous gym called Johnny Toco's. And it's one of the most legendary gyms in Vegas. They closed it down now. Muhammad Ali used to train there. He was there. Really good gym. And, I went my first day. I still remember everything. It's like, it's insane how our mind will remember just certain smells. And anytime I smell cocoa butter, it reminds me of those days.
Really?
Because my old coach, still my coach, he's like another father to me, Rafael Ramirez, he would put Vaseline for the thing. It would be the cocoa butter. So then just the smell of the gym and then the cocoa butter just brings me back. It's like, when you take a whiff and you smell something, it brings you back to that certain place. That's me with boxing. And that's me with my old times there. So then, I didn't actually compete till I was about 13 because I was super heavy. And then, if my father was training me at that time, he probably would have made that step to travel. But since it was my mother, she wasn't really too into the boxing, never really liked it that much. It wasn't, she'd take me to training every day, she'd sometimes watch the sparring, never really watched the fights, she was just too nervous. So she never really took me to tournaments, like nationals were the ones I would get the fights.
Gotcha.
So then, but I was just training, I had a few fights. In 2013, I won my first national Golden Gloves, junior Golden Gloves as a kid. And then from there, I moved down here, and then when I got with my pop, well, not with my pop, I'm lying. It was with another coach that my dad found, very technical coach. He was just not on top of the fighters, like all around. It'd be give great technical mitts, and then it would be just hit the bag, 3 rounds, and then like 100 sit-ups, maybe 20-minute jogs, and that we'd all go to the fights. Me and my older brother, because he did this journey with me as well, and we'd go to the fights, and like honestly, I don't want to say we sucked. because we had so much technique, but it was just the fight. It was you need to be training hard, even at a young age.
So my question in reference to what you were saying just now, you had some technical stuff, but it sounded to me that you didn't feel like you were well prepared, even though you were taught some technically sound techniques.
Exactly.
What is the nuance? What do you think that you were missing at that time?
A little more pressure, and that's what my dad brought to the table. So once because I would be back and forth, and I train here and then go back over there. But I'd live over there. Anytime I come here, the winter breaks or summer, I would go to gyms, and then that would be that guy. And then over there, the other guy was a whole different story. That other coach always pushed me to the max and had me as an animal when it came to physical wise. But when I moved down here in the beginning of high school, end of 8th grade, because I was getting in trouble in Vegas and stuff, just little kid stuff, growing and maturing. And my dad, he just completely took over, and then that's when we started seeing things change. My dad wasn't a fighter, so a lot of people, they underestimate him, and they don't really see his value in the game just because he wasn't a fighter. But that's I feel a very how can I say it? Just ignorant way of seeing things, because you look at the Miami Heat coach, like he can't hoop with LeBron or this and that. He's the one who writes up the game plans.
True.
And the way I love about my father is that what he teaches is the way it is. So it's not like former boxers, like let's say me right now, I could train somebody and I could teach them what I know or what style works for me. But then what necessarily works for me might not work for the next man.
Right.
So then that's where you see other gyms where they have a lot of fighters, they're trying to do all these crazy things, and then you see the results. We got the top amateurs in the state. We got the most Golden Glove titles. We got the most state POW titles. We got the most titles in general. And then not just me, just speaking for the other kids as well.
Right.
So I feel like my father later on in the game, because coaching is a long-term game too. It's not like fighting where you got a short-term period. So I feel like, once I reach a certain pinnacle, then other people are going to start coming in as well, other pros to join, and then they'll see the real deal. You know what I mean?
All right. So your dad and his coaching, is he associated with the Kangaroo Boxing Gym?
Yeah, he's the owner.
Okay. All right. So where did he get his passion from for the sport? If he didn't.
Cubans, they it's one of their main sports. He's always loved it. He loved to watch it. My dad was actually in school for water polo.
Water polo is a tough sport.
One of the toughest there
Hardcore,
is, man.
hardcore.
And back then it was crazy because they didn't have cameras in the water, so they're cutting you with their toes and they're doing everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. Because now in the Olympics they got the cameras under there making sure everything's going on. So over there they leave the pointy toe chip you, man.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. They'll kick you in the balls, and it's like it was dirty back then. My dad was a really good goalie.
Oh, okay.
So, but he really got into it. He started really studying, and I got that from him, just the obsession and the drive. There'd be days my dad, now he still works, now and then he still works graveyard. So there'd be times I come home not come home, I'm waking up from school 5 a.m. to get my run in, 8th, 9th grade, and then my dad's just getting home from working. He's working graveyard. And then, I'd knock on his door, and he'd be in the bathroom and just reading books on just boxing.
So he was a student of the game.
A student of the game. That's the best way I can honestly put it.
Wow.
And then the way he teaches it is it's such a perfect way that he teaches you the correct way, and then later on you develop your own style.
Gotcha.
But without the fundamentals, you really go nowhere. A building is nothing without the base.
Right. I say that all the time. You put it very well. A building's nothing without its base. I always use the analogy of foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You start off with a good, strong, solid foundation, and you can build up from that. If you've got a weak foundation, whatever you build on there will not stand.
Exactly.
So absolutely. Wow, very interesting.
And so my dad, before he started taking over fully of me coaching, my first 10 fights, I might have won 3 or 4. And I was like, my dad was like, nah, man, I know my son, he's not no scrub. You know what I mean? Like every second, third round where they're exhausted, grabbing, holding, and like, no. So then my dad took over, and then we ended up right now. So it was, let's say I was 4-6. So right now my amateur record is 72 and 11.
Wow.
And the only losses we had were in national tournaments. In the state of Florida, we haven't lost since those losses. So we've been undefeated in Florida for about till now. You know what I mean? From 2015 when I won my first state Golden Gloves.
Okay.
And that was a trip because I was only 16 years old.
What did that feel like?
And it was nerve wracking because you're 16 at that time. It's not the same as they do now. At that time, it was 17 and up. So I'm fighting grown men, 32 years old. I was 16, but the way the USA Boxing does it is you fight at the year you turn that year. My birthday's November. The tournament was in March. So I'm fighting as if I'm 17 to 34. I've had fights where my opponent's kids are there supporting them.
Really?
Yeah,
So you're fighting grown men?
Grown men, and at 178 pounds. So, 178, you're talking about people cutting down for 200 pounds.
Right.
And I'm just, not out of shape, but I'm not a big 178. I'm still a kid. I'm 16 years old. Right. So the manpower and then a kid power is a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I won my first state there, I remember I fought he's a friend of mine now. His name is Zammy. Very tall, and I clicked him with the right hand in the first round of the finals of the Golden Gloves. I buckled him, and that's when everybody started, hearing about me in the state.
Okay. So that was your opener, your statement.
That was that was a little statement piece, winning the state in general. But actually, I'd actually take that back. It was in the Golden Glove qualifiers. So back then, to make it to the state Golden Gloves, they had 4 events, and you'd have to win one of them to qualify to make it to the tournament. I won one of them, and that's funny. I'm just gonna go a little bit off topic. That's actually how I got my nickname, El Jefe. So my father, after I won that fight, the qualifier, I remember that fight too. I got hit in the ear and I couldn't hear for like a week. I had no idea. It was like I had water in there. Like it was a weird feeling. Like it was weird. But that fight after I won, and I was a kid fighting grown men, and I was super technical. But after I won that fight, my dad wants to take a picture of me with the head of the commissioner of South Florida,
right,
of the boxing. He's like, me and him, we took a picture. Won't mention his name, but he was like, okay, put, Abel Gonzalez with El Jefe, blank, blank. And I put Abel El Jefe with blank, blank. So then me and my dad got a kick out of it. I was like, okay, that's your name now. And it just stuck with us. And I just feel like that's how it's going to be,
The boss.
Yeah, just like that. So I feel like in Spanish, it's just my niche, I feel it. Like that's, I could just envision that announcement. Abel, El Jefe, Gonzalez, that's what I dream about. Every day I wake up working towards my dream with that. And it's just going to happen, I'm manifesting, I'm working hard towards it. And there's nothing going to stop it. So
for sure. Now, someone once said to me, Mario once said to me that no champ has ever made it by himself. Mm-hmm. He's got to have a team.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village to make a champion.
For sure. And based on what you're saying, it seems like your anchor was your father.
Yeah, even to this day, he always will be, and I would like to be his.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Now, what other in reference to the team that's required in your own eyes, what is another vital component to your team towards your success?
Support. One, just being able to speak with your people. I believe you're part of the team now as well. It's like, aside from the advice you give me to help me prepare, helps me compete at a higher level, maintain myself at a higher level. Like, for example, just throw it out there, my shoulders. You remember the beginning, I was having all these tight pains. You gave me certain work. I haven't had nothing.
Nice.
Nothing. I'm working on my posture. You can ask my girlfriend. I haven't had no upper neck pain, nothing. It's like incredible. Now I'm working on everything else. Now I know it's a process. So,
Sure.
we're just taking it day by day, brick by brick, and I know it's going to come. But, a good team, a good solid team around us, like Mario, for example, is a great teammate. He's there for the vitamins, the sponsorships, for everything, it's great. I got a lot of good support too, They say boxing is the loneliest sport in the world because you're the only one in that ring,
right.
But people don't really understand how, how selfish it kind of is to say that because of everybody else around you. For example, my woman is a great support system as well.
Sure.
So for me to say it's the loneliest, like she goes through it as well with me. You know what I mean? We're both going through the process.
Right.
So it's like, it can feel lonely at times because, you know, when you win, everybody wins, and when you lose, it's like you lose alone. That's the sad part of this game.
So you feel as if you're losing it for, not just for you, but for your team.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, damn, everybody wins, everybody's happy. Then when it loses, it's like they're not as sad, but it's like the one that really feels that pain is the fighter. So that's why they really say it's the loneliest sport. Aside from, you got to stay away from certain friends, certain people, even though you love them, family. That if they hold you off or holding you back, you got to cut them off. And you know, I got close friends right now that I got to cut off. That I don't even, that, you know, they hit me up, and you know, I still love them, but I know I can't be around them, and I know I can't be in that environment no more, because I got to put this first.
So he's staying focused. How do you stay focused?
You know, one is just showing up. You know, not every day I'm 100% motivated. Not every day, you know, I got intense focus. It's more easier when you're in camp, you know, because you got something to work towards too. But boxing is a year-round sport. So, you know, the main thing is just showing up. You know, like you got to maintain that discipline, and then motivation comes after, because sometimes motivation's not there. You just got to be disciplined, and you just got to show up.
So what's your trigger to get dialed in? Like, what do you need? My motivation's not tip top right now. I need to get the most out of this workout. I've got a goal to accomplish. What do you use to motivate you and get you dialed in?
You know, my financial situation, you know, eventually I want to be able to take care of the people that take care of me. You know, like, would love to buy a house, would love to just create my family, and, you know, and take care of myself and keep that stress off my parents.
Right.
You know, take care of them as well, you know. Just flip the scripts.
Awesome.
You know, like that's the goal.
No, and I think a lot of individuals, they use those intangibles. A lot of individuals who are champions or are just doing it right now, they're not just doing it for themselves. You know, when you have something that you're fighting for, you know, it brings the most out of you, it brings the best out of you.
Most definitely, yeah. Most definitely.
Interesting. So how was your training regimen evolve over the years, and what role does movement play in your preparation for fights? So in terms of, I'm more than sure that how you trained back in the day is a lot different than how you train
than how we train, the range of motion and
in any capacity, whether it's, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, you know, you learn as you go, and it took me a lot of years, and I've been stubborn. I've always been the type to just come and never really stretch, warm up, and you know, it's like, you can get by with it when you're 18, 19, maybe 20, but then it comes to that point where you're like, you know, shit, everything hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
when you get older, you're not as rubbery anymore.
And it's like, I'm still kind of young, so I'm worried what happens when I'm 40, 50.
Don't think so far ahead, my friend.
I try not to, man. I try not to. But, you know, definitely the training has changed. You know, I add 30 minutes before my workout, I do a warm-up and stretching. And then after my workout, I also do a warm-up and stretching. And then I do the specific stretch of the game. I do the band workouts. The intensity of training throughout the years, as when I went pro, then when it was amateurs, it's a lot different.
Okay.
It's more endurance-based because it's longer rounds. So it's like, in amateurs, I believe the amateurs are harder than the pros.
Yeah.
100%. Because you got let's say when I won my national Golden Gloves in 2021, every day after my fight, I was weighing 185, 186. So it's 5 days you got to weigh in. So every day I have to weigh in at 178. I'm lying, 176. Because they changed it. The other 2017, I was 178. But so I'm weighing 185, 186, and every night I got to cut 9, 10 pounds to make 176 in the morning. I'd finish at like 77, and then I'd sleep off a pound, but that's daily. You hydrate, you fight, and then you got to cut weight again to make more than the next one. And then you're also fighting top level competition, the best of the country.
Right.
You know, a lot of people at the beginning of the career in professionals, their competition is nowhere near as hard as the national level. You know, there's a lot of good pros who couldn't win a national title. You know, but got a little sidetracked in my mind. You know, the amateurs is more intense. It's only 3 rounds. You know, sometimes they do it 2 minutes, so everything is just
It's all in. It's
all quick.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really got time to really sit down, break your opponent. Like Canelo, for example, I'm a great fan of Canelo.
You guys are in the same weight class as well.
Yeah, man, for sure. It'd be an honor one day, for
Okay.
sure. You know, first 2 rounds, he barely throwing a punch. You know, he's just studying his opponent. In the amateurs, he'd lose a 4-round fight like that. You know, he's just too patient. But in the pros, you know, you start breaking them down with 1 good body shot around, 2 good body shots around, and by 6, 7, 8, 9, let's say, they're already beaten. You know what I mean? They're just broken down, and then after that, it's just get them out of there.
So he's just reading the opponent, and wow,
Reading
like
the
real
opponent,
time.
studying, and then getting the timing. You know, reading their anticipation. You know, because a lot of the times we're like, oh no, he has a great defense. No, he just has great anticipation. He knows if I throw this punch, I threw it 3 rounds ago, and he did this movement. I know if I throw it again, he's going to do the same movement, so I'm gonna just roll. So
Chess.
it's like, damn, he's seen it. Exactly. It's one move for another. You know, so it gets really, boxing for me is just, it's beautiful because there's so many different ways to, like, you know, that they say there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
For sure.
And there's 1,000 ways to just trick your opponent.
You know, a lot of times when I'm watching it, you know, some of it seems a lot of it seems very reflexive. So now you're kind of breaking it down as to how much thinking and anticipating that you have to do. But like for an outsider, it really looks reflexive, you know, like you do this, and when this happens, I just react this way. But you're actually thinking it through.
Yeah, for sure. You know, in the beginning levels of any boxer, that's how it is. They're just fighting off reaction. You know, when they have their first sparring, it's just da 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 da. They're just throwing. They don't really know what's happening. They're ducking, and it's just happening. But it's not really calculated. You know, once you reach that level when you're in the ring and you know what's going on, that's where it gets ugly for the other guy. Because they could just be throwing wild, doing this and that, but you got one guy that's seeing everything, he's reading this and that, and he's setting up a shot. And that's dangerous. You know, so that, for me, the training is just, you know, in the amateurs, we would train less rounds, higher intensity. The pros, we do more rounds, a little bit less intensity, and then we mix up maybe 1 or 2 days a week. We'll do intense work, you know, intense bag work, technique work, maybe some sprints, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's really long distance stuff until the last few weeks, just to work on speed. Like, you know, we do long distance run, 10-mile runs, you know, once a week, and then the other days are just 4 or 5 mile runs. We try to reach 30, 35 miles a week as a pro.
Right.
Now, when it was the amateurs, it was just, you know, you run short distance, 2, 3 miles, you try to keep a fast pace. You know, every once in a while, those sprints in between, stuff like that. I think they call it parlay running. You know, we were jogging, and boom, you should do a short sprint, then you're jogging, and boom, do another short sprint. And it, like, for the amateurs, that's successful because everything's in bursts.
Gotcha.
The pros is a little different. So the training is also a lot more, just more draining, because, you know, you work 2, 3 times a day, you're lifting, that's why everything else has to align perfectly with the nutrition and recovery. If not, your body just breaks itself down. And as a professional, you gotta know when to pick it up and when to drop it down.
Right.
You know,
in terms of the intensity.
Exactly, because, you know, going too hard sometimes has a negative effect and your performance drops.
Right.
You know, I overwork sometimes. I'm like, dang, normally it's the 6th round. I'm normally not tired this round in sparring. You know, that the whole week I was just going.
So you dialed in terms of physically, like you're dialed in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you can kind of, it's almost like you're registering what your capabilities are, how far you can go, and how far you can take it while you're feeling all of these things.
Exactly. So it's like I'm learning my body as I'm going. I'm still early on in my career. I got a long career ahead of me. You know, I'm only 26, so it's plenty of time to learn as we go. Right. You know, and we got a good base, a good start. And now it's just, you know, keep working hard and just dedicating my life to it as I have been, and just, you know, the results are going to come. You know, the fruits of my labor will for sure come.
For sure. Now here's my question. Now, everything you've been discussing, I would say, is more towards the physical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to say, like, you're a nice guy, okay? But when I watched that fight with you in the ring, you weren't able. I don't know what I mean by that. There was a switch. Something turned. You weren't the nice guy that I'm used to. So how do you switch it on and off? How did you find that person to begin with?
So they actually, my last fight, they actually, we had a set list of opponents, and we didn't want to go the easy route. We took the undefeated Olympic trial fighter, and I believe he was Irish. And what we took that, we knew we could beat him. We took the fight, and what got that switch to me was in the first round, he landed a right hand. And if you notice it, the first round, he landed in the first 10 seconds. I was like, nah, hell no. Let me wake up. This is serious. My life's on the line.
Right.
And it's like, that's the way I look at it, you know, like, I've dedicated so much time, my life, you know, blood, sweat, and real, literal tears into this game, you know, so like, for me I can't lose. You know, right now I can't lose. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do to win. So that's when that dog comes out, you know, because I got to do it for me and not just myself, my family, and just for my future.
Right. How do you develop that dog to begin with?
I mean, I've always had it, man. I've had sparring videos as a kid, just spanking people, man. Like I'll show you, 13 years old, just smacking people. You know, I've always had that little instinct. I've lost it a little bit because I've been focused so much on technique. But now we got something good cooking up. We're gonna make, you know, balance out the good combination of both, and it's gonna be we're gonna bring back the old school exciting style fights, man. I want to fight everybody.
Now, when the beast is out, I mean, can you control it?
100%, 100%. You know, 100%.
And that's where the mastery is.
Well, I'm learning on controlling it.
Okay.
Like for example, my last fight, you know, I got him with a great shot. I had him stumbling on his feet, and if I would have controlled myself just a little bit more, I probably would have found that one shot that would have got him out of there.
Okay.
But instead, I threw about 15, 20. I didn't really cut the ring. I was just acting off emotion. Shit, I got him hurt. Let me get him out of there. And it didn't really benefit me, you know, because I didn't get the stoppage. I was this close to getting that stoppage. If I would have just moved a little bit smarter, controlled that anger a little bit, I would have been a little bit better. But like I said, we're learning as we go. And, you know, we're doing it with tough competition. No one really does that in the beginning. My third fight, I fought against a 9-0.
Right,
My fourth fight was 6-2, which they're not, you know, you look up a lot of these famous guys, their first people they fought are 1-50s, 2-30s, 1-9s. You know, I fought everybody with a positive record.
And three fights prior, you had an individual with a 34 win record. From Argentina.
Yeah, he was actually two-time former world title challenger. That was on the fifth fight. Okay. Actually, the one right before, the 3 ones before was a guy that was 9-0 from Brazil.
Gotcha. Okay.
And for me, that was it was interesting build up to that fight because it's like, dang, you know, I'm early into my career, I'm fighting a 9-0, but I know what I'm capable of. My team knows what I'm capable of. So we just had to get business done, and we got him with the 6-round stoppage.
Now, when you're fighting an individual, let's say the 9-0 versus the individual with 34 wins, there's a huge. I would assume there's a huge difference in terms of experience. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of fights like that. I mean, you're seeing things a lot of individuals haven't seen, no matter how good they are. 100%. Now, what would you say the difference is between those two fights?
So, for me, you know, a fighter like that has more experience, you know, like 34, I think he had like 15 losses. Still a lot of times in the ring.
Yes.
It's 50 something times in the ring. They got. I feel there's more risk with fighters like that. Not more risk. It's just I feel like they come in with a different mentality. They don't care whether they win or lose.
And that makes you more dangerous.
It makes them more dangerous because they got nothing to lose. Right. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of times that prospects they go against some other people. They could be like, oh yeah, he's a little older, he's washed up, this, that. But he's going in, he don't care. He's just fighting there for a couple $1,000. And then, you know, let's say he wins, he don't. You going with that mentality, it's like it's hard to fight someone like that because they don't care. So, you know, you got to be on point because any mistake you make, it could get capitalized, and then, you know, that could be a big step back for your career early on stages.
Right.
So, you know, fighting a 9-0 and the other 9-0, it felt like we both were on the same mindset. You know, we both wanted to get that W. You know, and so it's like let's go. You know what I mean? With the other guy was like, whatever. He was just moving around a little bit, didn't really want to get hit, so I had to be on him the whole time. And then I see every once in a while he'll just load up one crazy shot, just try to get me out of there.
Right.
Something, you know. But I just stepped back, didn't let him and stuff, you know. But definitely when you fight someone with more experience, it's always and with losses, it's a little different because they go in with that I don't care mentality. Which is dangerous in my opinion.
Right, no, I agree.
Because it's just, you got nothing to lose.
Right.
You know?
So an individual who is undefeated are probably a little bit more careful.
Exactly.
Would you say?
Yeah, you know, that it means more to them. Mm-hmm. You know, they need that W because they know once you get that L, and unfortunately the way boxing is, you know, you take a loss and, you know, the love is gone. You know, like there's a few fighters, unless you're up there and lose, but early on you take some losses, it's very hard to bounce back from that. So yeah, they're fighting with that same pressure on them as us, so it's like an even playing field. But then soon, like now I'm noticing at every fight I'm getting in, it's like a little less pressure, a little more, like my last fight was the fight I was most aware in the ring, I believe. Yeah, I didn't let him hit me. He got me with that one right hand, and other than that, it was just me all over. You know, I felt like I was calm in the situation, control. I felt like I could have, in that last round, controlled it a lot better, like I was explaining earlier, but it just happened how it happened, you know. But I feel like my next fight, my awareness in the ring, aside from my physical, how strong I'm gonna be, my mental, how mentally strong I'm gonna be, it's just gonna be an exciting fight, man. It's gonna be beautiful.
Okay, all
It's
right.
gonna be beautiful.
I can't wait to see, man.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to see. All right. As a boxer, how do you prioritize injury prevention and recovery in your training routine? And what role does physical therapy play in your overall performance?
Well, before it was just mediocre, just, you know, roll my shoulders a little bit, you know, touch my toe, and I get to doing it. And then I realized a lot of back injuries, lower back. Remember, I came to you with the upper shoulders, and so now the prevention is a lot better. You know, my dad's gonna wrap up my hands every day. The warm up is important. You know, I make it 30 minutes before sparring now. So before even the opponent's here, I'm over here rolling out with the roller. I'm warming up my shoulders with the bands. And those are all stuff I'm learning from PT, you know. And
can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor and tell the young viewers out there how important it is to warm up, please?
The warm up and stretching before and after workouts is the most important thing you could do to keep training at a high level. If not, you could go hard one day, but then the next day you miss, or the next day and they're like, okay, today I feel better. Then you do the same thing, and then your constant thing where you're just missing days. To stay at one constant goal, you got to take care of your body and take care of your mind first.
Please listen to the pro. If you're not gonna listen to me, listen to the pro. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but it's so important, man. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, and these kids just don't listen. They're rubbery. They think they bounce back, and they're gonna bounce back forever, and it just doesn't happen that way.
That's facts. That's facts.
You know. Can you walk me through one of your most memorable moments in your career?
My professional or just in amateur boxing? I would say it would be winning the 2021 Golden Gloves Nationals again.
Yeah.
You know, this last pro fight was a big stepping stone too. It was a great experience, but the 2021 was like to prove a point. You know, because the last one I won was in 2017, and you know, in between that 2017 to 2021, a lot went on within my personal life. And I was just, you know, going through a few things, and a lot of people counted me out. You know, a lot of people would make fun of me. Like, you know, like instead of, you know, it's more like kicking someone when they're down, you know, like, and comments were made by even close friends that because of that I cut off and stuff like that. It's like, you know, like no one thought I could come back from where I was at. You know, I was at a dark point in my life, and a lot of people just thought that was the end. And I knew it wasn't. One thing is I never lost hope. No matter how bad I was, how broke I was, how anything I was, how messed up I was, I always never lost hope. And I always knew I'd be doing the right thing in the right time. And I feel like that's the right time, and yeah.
So that was your retribution fight?
Yeah, man, that was a retribution fight. The build up to the fight was beautiful. It was just awesome, you know. It was just a connection that me and my father got that day that it was just amazing, you know. It was just like something that's like, now life is changing, you know. After that, we started getting phone calls from different contract people, different this, different that, you know, working deals. And it's like, all right, I didn't only show it to myself, but I showed Pops, I showed my mom, I showed all my friends and family that I got this. You know what I mean? Like we're good. That was one of the most memorable. The 2017 was also memorable because I went 3 times to that tournament. So 2015, when I was 16, I fought there. I won the first day. The second day, I lost. I fought a guy that was, imagine, I was 16 years old fighting 178. The first day I fought someone that was, like, I got lucky, he was my age. I sparked him. And then the second day I fought some man from Buffalo, New York. And just the size difference I'm talking about was insane. There's a picture of my dad looking up next to him here. And I was scrapping. I was trying to do my hardest, but he was just too long on the outside, and I was doing everything I could. You know, but it was just different levels. So that next year we went 165. You know, we made that cut to 165. We made it to the semifinals. We thought we won the semifinals, but we didn't as boxing. But we won the first 3 fights, and then but we didn't win it. So then 2017, third time the charm, we won it.
At what weight?
At 178. We went right back up because I couldn't maintain it. And like I was just really, really skinny. Later, I was
And you're probably growing at that point too. You're 16, 16, right? So you're still growing, becoming more mannish.
Yeah, at the next one, I think I was already 17. And the next one, the one where I won in 2017, I believe I was 18 already at that point.
Okay.
17, 18. And yeah, that was just it was dope too, man. Every day I remember, that was a hard work completely. Like that, I remember after that, I needed like a week just bed rest.
Really?
I felt like I got hit by a train. It was fighting every day. It was like fighting every day. I remember I was going through that time where I had this knuckle broken, this one right here, so I couldn't even train 6 months leading up to the fight with the pack or with like in the bag. We were just doing noodles and then taking ibuprofen 800s and then we spar and then, inflame a little bit, ibuprofen 800. So every day at the fight, we'd win the fight while weighing 185 pounds, gotta drop 7 pounds, you got my hand like this, just insane. It's really insanity.
Wow.
So then every day we did that for 5 days, made the weight, the hand, then it's just like, a feeling of just an accomplishment that's insane. That once they raise that hand up, it's just no other better feeling.
I can imagine. Now, you spoke about injuries, and I know you've been around a lot of boxers and so on. So, for example, like sprinters always get hamstring pulls and things of that nature. What do you see as a boxer, which are nagging injuries that really put a damper on training and competing, that these young guys, if they do the right thing, can minimize that as much as possible?
I see a lot of people in the gym that get a lower back pain a lot. A lot of people get back pain in here because the rotation, and then most of them don't do the proper rotation. They leave this foot, so kind of just gets tense up. And then you don't really stretch a lot in the lower back when you're running. There's always a lot of impact.
Okay.
And then also the shoulders, because a lot of boxers, they have shoulder problems a lot. And then in between those shoulders, like you told me before, there's a lot of little muscles that need to be strengthened. And then on top of that, some of us are like this. People that are long in the game. Those are like the most injuries I think really happen in there. Oh, hand injuries, of course, messed up hands. The hands, shoulders, and the back for me are the main thing injuries. Sometimes people get tennis elbow from overextending, but the main ones are broken hands, messed up, shoulders,
Gotcha.
lower back, and then severe cases are like, other things like head things.
Gotcha. So basically, for the young boxers and competitors or those in combat sports, make sure you take care of some of the small issues. I always use the analogy. You have a car and all the parts are working right, and lug nuts are loose on the tires. That car ain't driving too far.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it might be a lug nut, which is something simple. But if you don't do that, it's going to ruin your whole journey. So definitely make sure you take care of those small little things. And I'm sure it's all about the preparation. Taking an extra half an hour, 45 minutes to warm up before you go into intense training, competition, so on and so forth, just to make sure that your vehicle, your body is running as effectively and as efficiently as possible.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. It is a little bit time consuming, yes, but it's 100% worth it. Even if you take 30, 45 minutes before and after work, or you may say, dang, it's an extra hour, I don't got the time, but you got to make the time for what's going to benefit you. And just like he was saying, if it's something small, or that's honestly minimal, with the other problems that come with boxing, that's the least thing you should worry about is just being able to handle your warm-up and stretches. Because that'll be the best thing to have you, at your best level.
For sure. Now, we all know, we understand that boxing is serious business. But as of late, we have individuals who are kind of getting into the game at a lot later stage, and part of it is individuals want the glory, they want the glitz and the glamour. So I could do that. Get up off the couch and get into it. But Logan, the Logans,
Jake Paul,
Tyson, Jake Paul, Tyson's gonna fight this guy. And, I don't know. I feel as if he's in danger. Okay.
Yeah.
Even at 57, 58, Tyson's is an animal.
Tyson's still Tyson. I tell everybody too. If he comes in there with bad intentions, I think he can definitely take him out of there. But I think they're having rules. They're doing some exhibition things with headgear now. Even with headgear, still smack him. But I think they're doing headgear, and I think I saw something there where they wanted to do like a tag team with Logan Paul and Jake Paul.
they need a third person.
Yeah,
just to keep up with.
Against Mike, you need a couple for sure.
I mean, the power. And what I find interesting is in terms of individuals in the weight class, the higher weight classes, as you can already attest to, even at 10 pounds of muscle is bringing a tremendous amount of power and force for you to deal with.
Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy how it seems as if, I think you have to actually feel it to understand. People are walking in very willy-nilly and not taking it seriously. I mean, what do you speculate? What do you think about the whole situation?
To be honest, man, I feel Jake Paul's an intelligent guy. I think he's really smart. I think he used his YouTube platform that he built to get him into the boxing game. It has its pros, its cons, it brings a lot more eyes to the sport. I respect their hustle, to be honest with you, man. They're doing that. They're training hard. They're training with top trainers in the world. They've only been in the game a few years. They're training hard. Are they the most talented? No, but to do what they're doing is honestly insane because there's people that freak out to fight at a local amateur show. And you got these cats where they're in front of millions, man. They're fighting and, they're doing their show. So it's pretty dope. I don't really watch them. That's just like a big one. Like I don't watch the Mike one, but like the YouTube influencer boxing, I don't watch it. Okay. I don't really watch that stuff. But like Jake Paul and stuff like that, what he's doing is dope, and what he did for the female fighter was even doper. He has a female fighter named Amanda Serrano, and she was the first female fighter to make $1 million.
Really?
So like after that, it started a whole new wave of female boxing.
So what you're saying is they're really good for the game.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, they definitely are.
More good than bad, or?
I'd say so because look, they're holding events now, like 4 or 5 events a year. I have a good friend of mine, Lorenzo. He fought on that card. They're doing good cards. They're hosting good events. They're getting people's names out there. They're signing fighters. Aside from him only fighting, he has a good good managing business side as well, and he's doing pretty good. So I don't think his boxing career is gonna last super, super long. I think he's gonna go more into the business side. But yeah, I mean, I think more eyes on boxing is a good thing, man. Because everybody was saying boxing is a dying sport because of UFC and this and that, and now people are realizing that boxing is the shit,
Okay, all right. So then, that kind of changes my stance. I was looking at it more from a purity standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about how it's going to affect it economically, bringing more individuals into the sport and helping the sport grow, I can't complain with that.
Yeah, there's some people that go to me and be like, I think you should be making that money because you worked so hard for this long. Be like, I didn't have a platform. You know what I mean? I didn't have that idea to make a platform and then do YouTube and then get hundreds of millions of followers and then with that build something. You know what I mean? So it's smart what he's doing. It's just like any other promoter that would have done it. The only reason a lot of people hate on the kid just because of his persona, like that he does. But I don't know how he is a person. I never met the guy, but I'm sure he's probably a cool dude, bro. Just doing his thing. And he put the female fighters on. He's getting a lot of good fighters on good cards so they could get seen. And I think it's a good thing, to be honest with you. I think it's a good thing, I think it's not too bad.
How do you think boxing is changing? Or how do you think the game of boxing is evolving, considering everything you've said?
Ever since the Mayweather era, it became more business now. So a lot of fighters don't fight to fight no more. They're fighting for the business of it. And that's what I feel boxing changing into now. But I feel a change coming in now that is kind of getting rid of what already happened with the Mayweather. Like, you gotta be undefeated, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. And it's like, one loss doesn't really make you, it shouldn't be like that. You take that L, like, no, you're garbage. Because you don't know what happens. There could be so many outside factors. Maybe the training camp wasn't too good. He could have been in this, he could have been that. He could have had an injury. And he didn't want to give up $400,000, you know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
Those stuff like that people don't know from the outside, but yeah, I hope boxing changes to that direction. I kind of see it going that way. Ryan Garcia lost the Tank, he's still getting opportunities to fight now with this person, then they hate me. And he's staying active with the losses. I just think it's more detrimental when you lose at the beginning of your career, because then you don't have someone to back you.
Right.
You get me? But he already built up a fan base, and then he can still make some money making some things. But what I want it to change in boxing, I don't want everybody to fight everybody again. Canelo with the Benavides.
Right.
Fight him, man.
Yeah.
Just fight him. You know what I mean? Like, you fought 175, just just fight him. Why not?
Everybody's fearful of blemishes on their record.
Yeah, you know, so everyone's worried on that. And Canelo's not even undefeated. I just think he generally just doesn't want to, like, you know, he's doing what Mayweather did at his end of his career because Mayweather worked hard for that. So did Canelo. So he picked and chooses his opponent. There's no secret, you know, it's just how it was. Mayweather picked his opponents at the right times. Mayweather's another very intelligent man, the way he went about his boxing career. And, you know, I kind of want that stigma to leave. You know, I want Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, those days, man. James, everybody's scrapping.
Right.
Like, you know, let's fight. You know, we gonna get paid, but let's fight.
Right, for sure.
The main part is the fight.
Now, was there like coming up? Was there any fighters that you admired or you kind of imitated or emulated your fighting style after?
So when I first started off, the first person I was like taught to imitate was an old Cuban fighter. He was born in Jamaica. He moved to Cuba like as a kid, I guess. I'm not sure. His name is Teofilo Stevenson. Teofilo Stevenson, yeah. Tall, heavyweight, and he just had a good way of timing that right hand for right hand and just sleep people. And that was always my money punch too, my right hand. So I'm working on that right hand again. And as a kid, I remember I would stop people in sparrings because it's science. You know, they're coming in, you time that, their impact of them coming forward, and you time the right hand right there, it's like two trains, boom. And I was dropping people at 13, 14 and sleep, like, whoa. People were like, what the hell? And it's just not that I'm some super powerful, I was always just technical. You know, I've always focused on the technique. Like fighting 178 at 16, I couldn't go toe to toe. I'd have to be as smart as I can. Move around, pick my shots, and then boom, land one good shot, and then move around again. And then as I started growing older, I started changing my style a bit to be a little more, I don't have to be so defensive because I started matching their power.
So you're using the science to your advantage.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think everybody should. All upcoming fighters should focus on, like, you know, the base, the fundamentals, the simple things. The simple things done right are the way it's supposed to go.
Okay. So my question now is, what is it that you see in the future for yourself?
I see myself, you know, being world champion. You know, accomplishing my dreams and just living a peaceful life, man. Behind a nice house, big backyard. My girlfriend can have some chickens and some goats.
farm,
man.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Little farm in the back, my own crib, everything, car. I don't need the biggest house. I just want my own house. I don't need the best car. I want my own car. I don't want, you know, I just want to live a simple life, have some money in my pocket, and just travel, experience life for real, man. You know, I've given up a lot of my life to boxing, and I want to get what I deserve and get what I've been working for to take care of myself and my family and just live a peaceful life. You know, boxing is intense.
For sure. Well, I always believe that hard work always pays off. It always pays off in one way or the other. So, you know, with that, I say keep working hard, my man. Watching out for you, rooting for you. I want the best for you.
Thank you,
Doc. And
really
thanks for giving me your time, man.
No, thank you, brother. Everything you've done to do, you know, an honor. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. All right. So, you know, thank everybody for, you know, sticking around and listening to Mr. Abel Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here.
Okay. He's a good guy. Check him out. He's got some fights coming up. Anything you want to let anybody know?
Man, you guys want to follow up on me, you guys can follow my Instagram. It's Abel_Gonzalez15. I'll be posting all my info on my upcoming fight. And I post training videos and everything. You guys can see what's coming. Stay tuned.
All right. And I want to thank your dad and Kangaroo Boxing Gym out here in Hialeah. And stay tuned. Hit him up. Any questions? Oh, and if you want to get in contact with me, email me, info@orlandowalters.com, or just check out the rest of my podcast episodes, and you know, we'll take it from there.
Definitely do that if you want your body to be at its peak performance. Dr. Walter will literally change your life.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.